Hi flamingos! So we're going to start learning about what logos are and why they're important to inventions, okay? And we're going to start doing that by reading this book called Caps for Sale. It's a tale of a peddler. A peddler sells things and some monkeys and their monkey business. And the author is Esfir Slobodkina. Caps for Sale. So we can see that this guy, the peddler, is selling lots of caps. Once there was a peddler who sold caps, but he was not like any ordinary peddler, carrying his wares on his back. He carried them right on the top of his head. First, he had on his own checked cap, and then a bunch of gray caps, and then a bunch of brown caps, and a bunch of blue, and then on the very top, a bunch of red caps. He walked up and down the streets, holding himself very straight so as not to upset the caps and have them topple. As he went along, he called, "Caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." It's like the lemonade in the Lemonade for Sale book we read. One morning, he couldn't sell any caps. He walked up the street and he walked down the street calling, "Caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." But nobody wanted any caps. That morning, nobody wanted even a red cap. He began to feel very hungry, but he had no money for lunch. "I think I'll go for a walk in the country," said he, and he walked out of town slowly, so as not to upset his caps. Doesn't want them to topple. He walked for a long time until he came to a great big tree. "Well, that's a nice place for a rest," thought he. And he sat down very slowly under the tree, and he leaned back little by little against the tree trunk so as not to disturb the caps on his head. And then he put up his hand to feel if they were straight. First, his own checked cap, and then the gray caps, and then the lower brown caps, and the blue caps, and the red caps on the very top. They were all there, so he went to sleep, and he slept for a long time. When he woke, he was refreshed and rested. But before standing up, he felt his hand on his head to make sure his caps were right in the right place. All he felt was his own checked cap. He looked to the right of him, no caps. He looked to the left of him, no caps. He looked in back of him, no caps. He looked behind the tree, no caps. Then he looked up into the tree, and what do you think he saw? On every branch sat a monkey. On every monkey was a gray or brown or blue or red cap. They all have them on. Up high in the tree, the peddler looked at the monkeys. The monkeys looked at the peddler, and he did not know what to do. Finally, he spoke to them. "You monkeys, you," he said, shaking his finger. "You give me back my caps." But the monkeys shook their fingers back at him and said, "Tss, tss, 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 tss." This made the peddler very angry, so he shook both of his hands at them and he said, "You monkeys, you give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook both their hands at him and said, "Tss, tss, 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 tss." Now he felt quite angry, and he stamped his foot hard, and he said, "You monkeys, you better give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stamped their feet back at him and said, "Tss, tss, 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 tss." By this time, the peddler was really very, very angry, and he stamped both of his feet, and he shouted, "You monkeys, you must give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stamped their feet back at him and said, At last, he became so angry that he pulled off his own cap and he threw it on the ground and he began to walk away. Oh boy. But then each monkey pulled off his cap And all the gray caps and all the brown caps and all the blue caps and all the red caps came flying down out of the tree. So the peddler picked up his cap and he put them back, all of his caps, and he put them back on his head. First his own checked cap, and then the gray caps, and then the brown caps, and the blue caps, and the red caps on the very top. And slowly, slowly, he walked back to town calling, "Caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." The end. So, let's look. What does the peddler sell? He sells caps. We know that. He says caps for sale, caps for sale. But unless somebody sees him walking around with his caps, they don't know what he sells, do they? So, what if he made a sign to put out in front of his house showing what he sells? It would make sense maybe to have a cap on that sign. Let's think, and we're going to look. Let's see. Hold on just a moment. So, after finishing the book Caps for Sale, we learned that the peddler sold these caps in the town. And let's think. What if people didn't know what he sold, but they wanted to find out? How could they easily find out? Well, he could have a logo. And this was an idea that I came up for the peddler. He could have a logo that is in the shape of a hat, and it says Crazy Caps. He could call his business of selling caps Crazy Caps. I thought that might help people know what he's selling if he doesn't want to wear all these caps on his head, or maybe he wants to put this sign up around the town and let people know, hey, come and find me, I'm the peddler and I'm selling crazy caps. So hey flamingos, I also want to look at some logos in our community that we might know and recognize. Let's start here with this one. What logo? What is this for? This is for our school. This is the logo for Lupine Lane. And the logo shows the name of the school, and it shows kids jumping and playing and expressing themselves. And it has a lupine flower growing in the middle because you guys are all growing at school. And there's a tagline. This is called a tagline that says, "Cultivating Creative Expression." And that means we hope to nourish and help you guys grow creatively and learn to express yourselves like all these kids are doing up here. And what is this a logo for? Even if it didn't say the word, you know this is for Target, right? This is Disney World. We recognize the hand or the font that Disney uses. And this is Whole Foods. So these are some logos that we see. Just some examples of logos and what logos are for. They show you, they tell you the name of something, and then they let you know what goes on there, right? So we made this one for the peddler, so he could sell his caps without having to wear them all the time. Just some ideas to start our conversations about logos. Thanks, guys.